So there's the world's most popular mac and cheese box. This one's organic, this one's whole grain wheat, and this one's somewhere in between. But there's a very alarming new report that this brand of macaroni and cheese in the UK has been labeled as containing GMO wheat. And that's very significant because there's no approved GM wheat for consumption in the United States, and it's apparently been imported from the United States. This is a U.S. company, and we're looking to confirm that report. If it's true, it's absolutely bombshell and directly raises questions. Are Americans eating GMO wheat that's not been approved or cleared with the FDA? Is it in this and hundreds, if not thousands, of products on store shelves across the country?
Melissa and Aaron here for True Stream Media, and just a couple of days ago we reported on how unapproved Monsanto GMO wheat was found growing in an Oregon field. Now, GMO wheat has never been approved for sale here in the U.S. It's never been approved for export, and they supposedly stopped these trials back in 2005, so there should be no reason why 8 years later we're suddenly finding Monsanto wheat growing in a field. And Monsanto would have you believe that's the first time that's ever happened, even though this wheat was being grown in 16 different states, not only tested in those states, but also in Canada and a whole bunch of other countries as well. Well, now, just yesterday, this came up. This is on foodbabe.com. She's asking, is illegal GMO wheat in Kraft mac and cheese? And she's asking this because one of her readers from the UK found an imported box of Kraft macaroni and cheese in her local grocery store that had this label on it, warning about GMOs, and they have to label stuff there. They're not. It's not like here where they can just put whatever they want in the food and not tell you anything. This actually has several warnings on it, but this bottom warning here actually says GMO declaration made from genetically modified wheat may contain GMO. Now, that raises huge flags because there's not supposed to be any genetically modified wheat for sale legally anywhere. So if they're labeling this Kraft macaroni and cheese and saying there's genetically modified wheat in it, I mean, if you go over here to GMO Compass, for example, this is one of several websites you can go to where it talks about different GMOs, what their testing process was, and where they're approved at. It clearly says approval, no approval for cultivation. And at present, there's just no approval for the cultivation of GM wheat anywhere. It says it is possible it may enter the market, but the reason Monsanto had to stop is because there was such a huge outcry.
And so many countries resisted the GM wheat. It certainly wasn't the U.S. One that did was Canada, and the farmers heavily resisted the attempt to commercialize GM wheat in their country because they were afraid it was going to collapse their more than $3 billion industry that's largely based on exports because they know so many people don't want the GM. And it talks about here how the GM Wheat Board took credit for resisting the Monsanto GM wheat, and just by coincidence, and as of December 2011, that Canadian Wheat Board was dissolved, and you've got comments from a member of Parliament in Canada who said the Wheat Board decision is just the beginning. They are coming after dairy and egg boards. They won't be satisfied until Viterra and Cargill and Monsanto control every bit of farmland in this country. And that's a quote, but we can see where it fits in with the larger agenda. And how scary is it that we might have unlabeled GMOs?
Well, the point is that they don't care to tell us what's in our food at all. And would they tell us if there was GMO wheat? Would they let us know if it had escaped and taken over, if it was growing in other places? Well, here's one clue. This is just kind of interesting. U.S. version of Kraft mac and cheese versus the UK version. This is on the Allergy Kids Foundation website. And this just is to show you guys the difference here. In the U.S., we get this blue box. This is the famous blue box. Everyone knows about that. And here's all the ingredients that are in it. I mean, this is a huge list. It goes on and on and on. There's probably like 30 things here. And it ends with yellow number 5 and yellow number 6, which are commercial dyes that in studies have shown to be linked to, hyperactivity issues in kids and other kinds of bad things. And then this is the UK version of Kraft mac and cheese called cheesy pasta. It's probably still not good for you, obviously, but it's only got 7 ingredients. And their artificial coloring comes from paprika and beta-carotene, which is, I'm going to go ahead and say, probably a lot better for you than some stuff, like yellow number 5 and 6, that was created in a lab somewhere. I mean, neither one of these are probably good for you, but the difference is Kraft, which is an American company, is obviously showing that they're willing to make a macaroni and cheese with less creepy ingredients for other countries because they know that this stuff won't sell there. But this is what they're giving us here because they know they can get away with it.
And then here they are with this import box of the U.S. version of this mac and cheese. And I wonder how many other ingredients and products also may contain
wheat. Well, Monsanto wants us to think this is the first time this has ever happened. I'm pretty sure this is just the first time it's made it to the news. I mean, this stuff was everywhere. I've even shown in the previous video how it was being found in other countries while they were testing it. It showed up in Thailand. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at this video real quick. So she's going into the grocery store, and she's in the World section. World Foods.
The World Food section. 5 boxes of mac and cheese. With the label.
And as you can clearly see, they've got these labels on there. Kraft macaroni and cheese. And here's the label again. It says it right there. GMO declaration, made from genetically modified wheat. So, do these people know something that we don't? Aaron and I decided to go ahead and look up this company. And we wrote them.
It's Innovative Bites, and this is apparently their holding company, American Grocery, and we found their contact info. So we're asking them what their source was on the information that was GMO wheat, and basically what prompted them to write the label. Obviously, as an import company, they don't want to get sued for not following the laws about labeling, but how did they know it was GMO wheat when there's not supposed to be any GMO wheat on the market?
I mean, I find it hard to believe a company is just guessing and they're just going to put, we think this might, like, why would they randomly just put GMO wheat? There's other stuff in that macaroni and cheese.
Well, they tend to underreport on labels, not
exactly.
overreport.
So why would they do that? It doesn't make sense. The only thing that makes sense is that they got that information from somewhere.
It also doesn't say may contain GMO wheat. It says that it does contain GMO wheat.
It does contain GMO wheat. So we're going to come back to you guys after we find out what we find out. We'll keep reporting on this for sure, because this has huge, huge implications. If there's genetically modified wheat out there, we know everyone's getting sick from gluten intolerance everywhere. There's a lot of questions being raised.
I'll throw in one more tidbit. In the movie The World According to Monsanto, there's a section where they talk about Mexico and their famous heirloom maize, of which there's, I think, 40,000 plus varieties, and they resisted GM corn in that country and refused to implement it because they didn't want to destroy the heirlooms. And apparently it was anonymously tainted, which would eventually destroy all that heirloom stuff. And so the question is raised, why would any biotech company, regardless of what their stripes are, be interested or benefit, even if it was not on purpose, from tainted natural food crops? Well, the answer is monopoly. If you destroy the natural food crops, it pretty much makes GMO varieties inevitable and almost,
Well, and that goes
unavoidable.
along with what I've seen several people write in different various chat threads about how farmers know that wheat doesn't even need to be genetically modified because it resists weeds anyway. So they don't need to do it, and farmers know that. Monsanto's just doing it anyway to make the money and
We've
to
got
control
arguments
everything.
for almost every GMO crop that the drought resistant doesn't work how it's supposed to. The whole big claim is it's
Superbugs.
supposed to increase crop yields. Supposedly that isn't true. There's a lot of things that don't fit, but what does fit is that some biotech companies may want to benefit from dominating the market so they could patent all foods, all life, and that money would flow through them.
Well, so we'll keep you updated on this, guys.
Thanks for watching. TrueStoryMedia.com.